I don't have a problem being wet. After swimming, I would put on jeans over my wet underwear and be okay with that. What?
See, I'm all for dating white people because I love me a whitey, I'm a lover of all races. But honestly, black women, if you're going to date white people, you really have to ask some questions, because earlier this year, I was in the Netherlands and I was online dating. I live in Canada, but I traveled. And I matched with this cute German guy, tall, cute, nerdy, my ideal spec in a man, smart. He was like a PhD in physics vibe. So somehow the topic of showering came up, and I don't even remember why it came up. But then he goes, yeah, he showers once a week. I'm like, what? I'm like, huh? Once? He was like, yeah, like during COVID, he only showered once every other week. And I'm like, huh? So, honestly, I was flabbergasted. I'm like, what do you mean shower once a week? He was like, oh, he only showers when he has like, he sweats or when he plays sport. But I'm like, you take the train, you take the bus. Outside is dirty. Like, you don't have to sweat to know you need to clean up. And like, well, and he was very adamant that he didn't need to shower every day. And so I go, okay, so how do you know when it's time to shower if you don't play sports every day or you don't work out every day? So how do you know when it's time to shower? And he goes, he said, he smells his boxers. He smells his boxers to determine when it's time to shower. That's how I knew it was a wrap, man. I'm like, honestly, this date, nothing is happening any further, because I couldn't convince him that showering once every other week is not normal. And he was very convinced that it is, and that our ancestors didn't used to do it. But I don't know about your Caucasian ancestors. My African ancestors used to shower. They may not have had deodorant, but I can guarantee that they at least went to the stream to go bathe. And yeah, but I also matched with this one English dude that did shower every day. And he did admit that the reason why his shower hygiene routine improved was because he dated a black girl. So yeah, honestly, please, I know we're all about interracial dating, but if you do want to date white men, white people, just ask about their shower routine and just make sure that they're open to changing their mind. Because if they cannot be convinced, baby.
Can I tell you, I've never dated a white guy in my life.
Okay. I mean, is there a reason that you're suddenly announcing this?
Because have you ever seen my natural hair, Matt?
Is this your natural hair?
This is.
I'm too scared to ask, because it's been one of those things where I've taken a shot before.
Yeah.
And you went, no, this is a wig, man.
No, this is my actual hair now.
No, well, then this is the first time.
Yeah. No, it's not. Because I come in a ponder every now and again.
Do.
It's not my first time. But one of the reasons is when I am wearing a wig, if I'm dating like a white man, like, do I take it off before, at least like my black brothers, they know what it is.
So how does it normally work? Do you put your wig to bed?
No, you can never sleep with a wig. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So do you go tuck it in and, I don't know, is there like...
So if it's laid, right, which means like it's glued down, then I'll probably sleep with it for one night.
Okay.
And then by the second night, I'm enough. Then you take it off.
And the real you comes out.
And then the real you comes out. And, like, I don't want to shock you. Do you know what I mean?
It would be quite a surprise, because you get used to the way someone looks, and
Yeah.
then suddenly it's bedtime and they look like a completely different person.
100%. I mean, there's many things that we don't really understand and sometimes are afraid to ask when it comes to other races. Lerato, you're married to a white man.
Correct. And the hair topic was a big one, because initially he was like, but you're a different person every other week or every other month. Today you're Rihanna, tomorrow you're Beyonce.
Yeah.
But luckily I don't wear weaves anymore, because
Yes.
he was like, I actually like you with your natural hair. Why don't you try it out? So I actually look nice in my natural hair. So I've got my afro.
So would you take off your wig before you go to bed?
I would. And you've got your rows, your cornrows
Yes.
under the wig.
I wonder, Isabella's a single driver, is the only black guy in the room. Do you mind the wigs coming off? No, he says he doesn't mind.
But you know what's another interesting one?
Yeah.
The doek. At
The
night.
doek. So, I mean, yeah, so black girls will sleep with the doek at night.
Is that so you put your natural hair, you've then got the weave on top, and then you duck that? Or
No. So
Hello family, hope you're all fine. Today we are diving into a topic that many people experience a lot, but actually few people break down in an honest, grown, and educational way. So we are talking about the dynamics of dating white men as a black woman. The beautiful parts, the complicated parts, the cultural layers. But this isn't about telling anyone whom they shouldn't or should date. And we are going to watch a number of clips from TikTok of people sharing their experiences, especially the challenges that they have faced when they try to date the white men as black women. So if you ever dated outside your race or you're thinking about it, this video is for you. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and remember to put your thoughts in the comments.
Do not come for me. So his name was Tyler. I was in high school and we were dating, and my family knew about him, but his family, I didn't know if they knew about me. And that's kind of one of the things when dating outside your race, you got to be like, they do know that I'm black, right? Like, you got to ask that question. And Tyler was like, okay, actually you're right. Like, I've never introduced you to my family. And I was like, okay, cool. And he said, you know what? Our family's having a dinner. Would you like to come over? And me, I was like, sure, why not? Meanwhile, remember, I'm in high school. I couldn't drive. So we get to his house. It's kind of on a little creaky kind of suburb, but like it's newly developed, so there's not many people around. And we get in, I see his grandmother's in the chair, or Meemaw as they called her. She was asleep. His mother was like, oh, you're Kennedy? That's great. Like, it was some kind of hidden intent. His father comes in, and big ass white dude shakes my hand like a dead fish and goes, It wasn't until I knew that his Meemaw woke up and said, when this little nicklet come in. So this is part 2. I may do a part 3 or 4 depending on how this goes. So after Meemaw says that, I was just like, maybe she's got dementia because she doesn't fucking know that black people are here and we even have a black president. And Tyler was so embarrassed. So he showed me around the house a little bit. He was like, this is my room. This is Meemaw's room. This is upstairs, my room, kitchen, stuff like that. And we sat down for dinner. His family was not happy to see me. Like, his mother would constantly ask questions like, what happened to Brittany? What happened to Margaret? What happened to Elizabeth? What happened to Maggie? They were such nice girls in front of me, so I couldn't really react. And every 20 minutes, like, she would be like, Tyler, can I talk with you in the kitchen, please? Or can I have a word with you in the kitchen? And like, I hear hushed whispers and Tyler's trying to like look at me like it's okay. But his father was the funniest shit because he was angrily like chopping up his pot roast, and he dead ass mumbled like, it's not enough that you people are taking our land and our job. Now you want our son too? And he looked at me and said, what do you people want? I was like, a 4.0 scholarship. Sorry, I was eating. So part 3, after like I was super nervous. I was like talking and I anxiously talked. And he was like, you being a smart ass? I was like, no, sir. I'm so sorry, sir. And I reached for my Coke and I spilled Coke on me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Do you mind if I use y'all's restroom? And they're like, yeah, sure. It's down the hall to the left. I went down the hall to the right. And I didn't know that was not the restroom because I kept feeling for a light switch and I flicked it on. And I almost screamed out loud because I saw his KKK hood eye level with B. I look down, I see mammies on the floor. I see caricatures of like old black people and shit like that. And then I see in the corner like the Delectable Negro book. I also see like books and stacks of, it says like family history and shit. And I immediately turn around, slam the door, and I was like, Tyler, I think I forgot my history book. I had to text a friend, so I'm texting my friend on the side like, come get me, because I didn't drive. And I still have to wait for her to come pick me up.
As a black woman who has dated white men in the past, these are some of the things that I've faced and heard in my relationships. One of them, my first white boyfriend always made comments about my hair, especially when I changed it, or maybe it was just like getting it done. I was wearing weaves, and I remember the first time he had touched it and he was just like, oh. I got really insecure about it, and so I would never let him touch my hair when we were being physical or just anytime. He'd be like, I don't understand why you have to wear fake hair. I was like, this isn't fake, it's human. So another time, he actually invited me to his parents' house, and I was driving from school, and he was about midway to my home, so I always like would try to stop to see him. The first time that he invited me with his parents knowing, I came and we were just hanging out in the basement. Like, I was seeing his childhood through the lens of, you know, his parents' home. And we were just hanging out when his parents got home and we came upstairs. This was really uncomfortable because when we went upstairs, his dad took one look at me and could not look at me for the rest of the night. I had no idea that his dad was racist, but even me just trying to be like, oh, like, do you like this? Or trying to have conversation with him, he would flat out ignore me. This was very uncomfortable. The next day I told him like, hey, I think your dad might be racist. And he was like, yeah, you're right. And I was like, oh, wow, why would you put me in that situation? And he was like, well, I wasn't 100% sure, but I just wanted to see how he would react. So this was also extremely damaging to my security and self because I had this feeling like, oh, this person chose to be with me. But it was more so just testing how much they could gauge the anger that their parent would feel for them rebelling against their wants. After years of us dating, I was always being snuck into his family house, and I would be snuck out before his dad woke up at a certain time. So I would have to drive home super early in the morning before his dad found out. So we dated for like 4 years, and for that first year I had met his parents, and then he kept me a secret for like 3 years. And like the last year before we officially broke up, his parents allowed me to come to Christmas dinner. I sat on the couch with him, and I remember like laying on his shoulder, and I remember feeling his dad's eyes just like burning a hole in my skull. And before Christmas, he was like, Dad, I want to bring my girlfriend to our lake house with our cousins. Like, I want her to meet everyone. And his dad was like, you will not embarrass me like that. So I remember like I had all my stuff packed, and I was like laying in my bed waiting for him to give me the answer. And he calls me and he's like, I'm sorry, like you can't come. And he's like, I'm pulled over on the side of the road because I don't know what to do, if I should just turn around and go home. Like, but it's like he chose to go up north and leave me. So now my other partner was another guy that I met in college. This one was like more covert. I actually remember my ex, the first one I was just telling you guys about, flying to Australia. I was doing a study abroad there. And I knew this guy, the second one, from my class. And we would just text and stuff. And he was trying so hard to take on the role that my boyfriend at the time had. And I was just like, I just want to be friends with you. I just want to be friends with you. And it wasn't until I knew like that my first boyfriend was never going to choose. Like he was never going to pick between me and his family, that I finally was like, okay, like I'm willing to give this other guy a try. Now this other guy was a lot more covert. He actually idolized Black culture. He was obsessed with Tyler the Creator. He loved like all of the fashion and the just a culture vulture. And I was going through such a stressful period because he had convinced me to move to New York with him. And I did. My dad had just bought me a Mercedes to have, and I ended up driving my car to New York. He had convinced me that because I worked in Manhattan and he worked in Brooklyn, that he should be able to drive my car. My dad also gave me like $2,000 that I could have in case of emergency. And he would constantly convince me to use the money that my dad had in savings instead of the money that he made or the money that his parents would give him. So I ran out of money, and I remember one day, like, he was driving my car home from work, and he actually ended up crashing my car. Till this day, he has not paid me a single dime for the damage that he did to my car. And his parents were like, well, insurance should cover it. He also told me that, like, because my mom lived in an apartment, that we were probably just, like, low-income people. And then he ended up, like, randomly coming down to my mom's apartment and being like, oh, wow, this is a lot better than I thought. He had actually said some things like, we live in a nice house, like, you live in an apartment. And he would also send me, like, very damaging text, like from 6 p.m. or whenever I'd lay my head down to like 6 a.m. in the morning. And they would say things like, I helped heal a Black girl. He would also do like really weird abusive behaviors, and then I would like dissociate or detach, and then he would try to have sex with me afterwards. I remember like when we had to come home from New York, I lived with his family, and he didn't want to work like a regular job because he was working to be an artist, and I took on 2 other jobs. So I was like a yoga instructor / working at the front desk, and then I remember I was like training for a restaurant job that would work from like 5 p.m. until maybe 12 midnight. And I came home from my training that night, and he was convinced I was drunk, though I had nothing to drink. Like, I literally drove home, and he lived like 30 minutes from the job. And he like screamed at me and like just was like, "You are drunk. I know you're drunk," like yelling at me. And I'm like, "No, I'm not. Like, I'm literally sober. I just worked. Like, I'm tired." And when I get tired, my eyes do get really small. I do look a little high, but I promise you guys, like, I was sober. And after I like literally was like, "Bro, like, I'm so over this, like, I'm going to leave," and he like begged me to stay. So I came back inside, and yeah, he forced himself on me, and I was like, "I don't want to have sex," and he just, like, did not care. So I just laid there, and he got so upset with me. He was, "I can't even sleep next to you," and like left me in the room to just sit in my nakedness. There's so much more, and if you guys want me to do a part 2, I can. I just noticed that this is getting a little long, but yes, there is a lot that I've endured as a Black woman dating white men, and I just don't know if I will ever do it again. Unfortunately, the circumstances would have to be very different.
Okay, guys, I went out with this rich white man, and when I say rich, I mean rich. Like, he has 15 different properties here. He has $1 million house in Florida, in addition to 5 other properties in that same city, and properties in Texas, and properties in LA. So when I say rich, I mean rich. He was also 26 years old. I'm 31. I was his first Black girl he's ever even taken on a date. I feel like the signs were there. He said all the girls he's ever dated were blonde and blue eyes. Did that stop me? No. I was trying to live my Shira sprinkle life. I believe I deserve it. The first date was an easy little ice cream date. I love ice cream. We probably like walked around eating ice cream, chatting for a good 2 hours, maybe 3. Throughout that time, I just let him chat, okay? I just let him chat, because if you want, you know, a man of stature with money, baby, you just gotta let them talk. They gonna talk about themselves, and that's all you gotta do. So that's what I did. He was so impressed. He was like, "Oh, okay, so this is what it's like on the other side of the swirl." Yes, sir. Yes, it is. So we set up a next date. We went bowling, and we went out to dinner. It was a good little date. It was cute. It was nice. We had fun. We had a lot to chat about. Really just me asking questions about him. He really don't know much about me. Second red flag, but that's fine. Whatever. As we're on that second day, he's telling me about his house in Florida and how he has to go back home before he goes on his big trip in Peru. Mind you, I was invited to Peru, but I gotta work. So I say, "I want to see your house in Florida," because what? So he said, "When?" I say, "Tuesday." It's Sunday. We fly out on Tuesday to go see his house in Florida. Big house. When I say 15 acres, baby, big old house. He got cows. He got all type of, and then he has another 300 acres like down the street somewhere. Like, he showed me all his houses. Long story short, it definitely was giving country bumpkin. So I went ahead and asked him, like, "Oh, do you think the people around here will get along with me?" He goes, I don't know, maybe. I think they would get along with your personality, but I don't think they would get along with, like, you know, you, what? Being black. Being black. I said it'd be just my luck that I would be strung up in the trees somewhere. I don't think this is gonna work, sir. If we have babies, our babies will be black. What do you mean? You wanna raise them here? So in that moment, I asked him, well, not in that moment. I had to ponder it a little bit because I was very taken aback. But eventually I asked him, like, do they like say the N-word? He said they've said the N-word with a hard R. They don't care who you are, this, that, and the third. They've called all my friends this, that, and the third. That's black, that. I'm like, and you just let them? I mean, yeah, they knew what they were getting themselves into. Your black friends did. Yeah. Okay. So then I asked him, do you say the N-word? And he goes, I mean, yeah, all the time. I'm surprised I haven't said it yet. I'm trying to say it less, though. Sir, please take me to the nearest airport. Are you a racist? I'm not racist though. No, I'm not racist. I love black people, this, that, and the third. So I tell him I'm uncomfortable with the fact that you said the N-word. I don't like that you think it's so like okay. And he's like, it's just a word, this, that, and the third. Long story short, I left that trip, came back where I belong, and we have not spoken since then. I just can't push aside my morals of like that I just can't. Like, it's not okay. And you know, it's really not even his complete fault. It's really the black people around him that allows that shit. Why do y'all allow them to say that? Y'all some yes me's, some pick me.
So when I was about 18, 19, I was dating this white boy, right? And at the time when he met me, like, I was very barefaced. I still am. Like, I was barefaced and I was wearing fucking Sperry's and a button-down shirt, and that's how I dressed, right? I was trying to be pretentious as fuck. And I still dress like that now. But right, this is how I dress. Remember this. Peep what I'm saying, right? We go through a McDonald's drive-thru. Well, he goes through the McDonald's drive-thru because he's gonna go get me some fucking fries because I'm having like my cravings of my McDonald's fries. Don't support McDonald's. This just is a part of the story. And we go to McDonald's and he sees these black girls at McDonald's and they got a bust down. They got the 30-inch bust down. They got the lashes done. They got the nails done. They got the jewelry. Like, they look good. And he wanna come to me and tell me, why you not like those black girls? How come you not like those black girls? And I'm like, cause I'm not. Mind you, this is a white man, a white boy. He's saying this to me, a black woman. He's saying, why am I not like those black girls with the bust down and everything? So I started feeling insecure. I was young and I'm like, what do you mean? And I always had a thing that I felt like I wasn't black enough because of just like the things that I like or how I showed up in the world. And he knew that. So then he goes say, he gonna go tell me, how come you not like one of those black girls? How come you don't do all that? Cause nigga, I don't. And then, so I was feeling insecure and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna be one of those black girls. You know, I'm gonna get the bust down. So I decided to get the longest like weave I got in my entire life. It was like 24 inches. I got a long ass weave. I got my nails done. I got my lashes done. And I told him if he wanted me to look like that, you're gonna have to pay for it. I still paid for the hair, but he helped me pay for my lashes and nails and everything for me to look like that. I kid you not. I come in, first of all, he says, you look like an Indian girl from the back. And then he says, I don't like that hair you're wearing. You look like a hair-hatted hooligan. Who the fuck told this white man that phrase? I was just like, and he kept calling me a hair-hatted hooligan. I kid you not, I didn't have that hair in for even 2 weeks. I was like, I'm taking the sewing out because it was a sewing. And he was just like bullying me the entire time about the fact I was doing all this stuff. Mind you, he asked me to do this stuff. He said why I didn't show up that way. So I guess what? I showed up that way and that still wasn't enough for his ass. Ladies, listen. Don't ever fucking change yourself for a man. Cause he will sit there and embarrass your ass. This goes for anybody. Non-binary too. Do not change yourself for anyone else just because they say they like something else. If they like something else, bitch, go over there. Because that's not me. Because I'm gonna be me at the end of the day. Imagine that. You do the thing, you get ready, you do the thing, and you get your hair done and everything just for the guy you're dating to call you a hair-hatted hooligan.
Alright, so we have heard what our sisters have shared about what they experienced when they were dating white men. The challenges are real, although it's not easy for most people to come out and share such experiences. However, this is not just about dating, maybe the white men. It's just a thing about dating outside your race. So the misconceptions, stereotypes from other people about you as a black woman, so everything is there. And in fact, some black women are scared of getting into such interracial relationships just because they wonder how it will be So I'm going to share with you some of my views about this whole relationship between the black women and the white men. And these things are mainly to help out those who are thinking, or some who are already into dating men outside their race. The things that you should expect when you go into such relationships, and then what you can also do to prepare when you are getting into such an interracial kind of relationship. But what I would like to say is that we have seen so many successful interracial couples or marriages that have really lasted for long. Racial dating isn't just about two people vibing, it's about two people stepping into a space that history has shaped heavily, which is for black women and white men. That history includes unequal power dynamics, the stereotypes that still affect how we are seen as black women, the beauty standards centered around whiteness, the generational trauma and mistrust towards black women, then the society's obsession about policing black women's relationships. So now here, your relationship might be completely healthy and loving, but those historical shadows still influence how people react to you and how your partner understands you and even how you move through the world together. Then there is genuine attraction versus fetishizing. This is really very common, and we have had someone who has talked about that. Her boyfriend wanted to use her as an experiment to see his father's reaction towards him dating a black woman. Attraction is natural, but there is a difference between liking someone and treating them like an experiment. So when you're a black woman dating a white man, you learn quickly which one he is on. And here are the insights about that. When the relationship is healthy, that means he likes you, not a racial stereotype. He sees your beauty as personal and not a checklist. He doesn't compare you to other black women like you are a category. So if it's not natural love or real love, which means that relationship is not healthy, you may hear your boyfriend uttering words like, "I've always wanted to date a black girl," commenting about your skin, your attitude, your curves, then treating you like an exotic adventure and not a person. So black women are not vacations, we are not experiments, and if he's showing you signs of fetishization, my sister, run, and in fact don't just walk. Then there are these kind of white men who are the aware partner versus the color blind partner. There are usually three types of white men that black women end up dating, and the difference matters. So, type 1 are the ones who are aware and emotionally mature. And these ones are the ones who understand racism, they listen without getting defensive, they show empathy. He doesn't center himself in conversations about your lived experiences, and also does his own learning. Then the type 2 kind of white men, these are the performative ally. So these ones talk the talk but can't walk the talk. Then there are those who apologize excessively. They make conversations about race awkward, and they are more concerned about looking progressive than being progressive. Then the other category, who are the I don't see color guy. In this category, they mean well but avoid reality. Under this category also, they think that ignoring race equals to equality. So these ones are like the ones who just take things for granted. These ones even accidentally maybe invalidate your experience, share with them something about what you've experienced, and then they just invalidate it. Then also they may say things like, "Are you sure it was racism?" They kind of doubt you. They put you in a position where, like, You are doubted, they don't trust what you're saying, they don't believe what you're saying. Let me tell you, if you end up with type 2 or 3, you're going to be dealing with emotional gymnastics every week. Another thing, one of the biggest dynamics in dating white men is emotional labor. And sometimes this burden lands on black women. And here examples are like explaining your experiences, teaching him about microaggressions, preparing him for how your family or community might react, preparing yourself of how his family might react, navigating social spaces where you are the only black person, helping him understand privilege without guilt or deflection, protecting your peace while educating someone who loves you. So black women should not have to be educators as a relationship role, but that is what happens in most cases. If your partner or if this white man you are with doesn't take the initiative to find out some things by himself or to learn more about you by himself, and then when you date interracially, you're not just dating each other, but you are dating each other's backgrounds, which means his family, friends, and the social circles. And his world may include relatives who mean harm but say harmful things, his friend who thinks that he's funny but actually isn't, people who stare or ask invasive questions, spaces where you stand out whether you want it or not. Then your world may include protective family members asking about his intentions, the community opinions, then the stereotypes about black women who date white men. However, what matters is this: does he stand up for you, or does he stay silent when you go through such things, especially from his side? Interracial couples get watched so much, especially when the black woman is with a white man. So examples of what the black women notice are side eyes in the restaurants, people over-analyzing the dynamic, curious smiles and confused stares, judgment from both communities. Yeah, so if you've dated a white man, you know what I'm talking about. And you know that feeling of maybe walking into a room and instantly being hyper visible. So a good partner stays aware, a great partner stays present with you, then a bad partner pretends that nothing is happening. Culture also plays a big role in love, from how you joke, to how you argue, to how you show love, and to how you resolve conflict. So these are some of the examples that interracial couples must navigate, or what respect looks like, humor and sarcasm, emotional expression, how families show affection. So if you are a black woman and you go to your white boyfriend's family, and then the affection they show you, like, they don't show you good attitude. They don't show you that maybe you're welcome to their family. They show you straight away that you're not welcome. So interracial relationships must thrive when both partners stay curious, open and humble, because you cannot love someone and ignore their culture. Dating across racial lines means acknowledging how society treats both of you differently. So none of this is guilt. It's just about awareness. And awareness is what creates balance. So with that being said, just know that at the end of the day, dating as a black woman in general comes with complexities. But adding a white partner adds extra layers that require maturity, humility, honesty, and emotional intelligence. So if both people are willing to learn, listen, and grow, it can be an incredible, loving, and deeply connected relationship. But if not, it becomes emotional labor, frustration, and misunderstanding. So let me know in the comments about this. What has been your experience with interracial dating? Or what do you think are the things that lead to challenges or dynamics in interracial relationships? Put your thoughts down in the comments and make sure to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell, and let's catch up in the next video.